Thank you so much. Thank you, Executive Constantine. And I also want to thank Mari Harita and her team at ArtsFund for inviting me here today to join you. This is such a fun time to celebrate the investments that ArtsFund has made to connect the arts to individuals and communities and empower artists and arts organizations. You're really creating an environment where the creatives can thrive. So if somebody asks me what my purpose in life is, I would only say one thing. My purpose in life is to create. If I'm looking for meaning and beauty in my life, tapping into my creativity allows me to find it. And if I'm trying to solve a complex problem, it's my creativity that lets me solve those old problems in new ways. And instead of saying, I'm stuck, or it has always been done this way, it's my creativity that says, do not look at what is, look at what it could be. There's never been a better time to recognize the value of creativity. We are living in a wonderful moment where there is intense interest in creativity. It was not that long ago when people thought that some people were creative, but others were not. But now we hear people saying that, we don't hear people saying that other person is creative, but I'm not, but now we hear the opposite, because the good news today is that people are starting to voice what we already know, that each of us has our creativity within us. We're also seeing how creativity is celebrated on a larger scale. The creativity that comes from individuals expands and reaches out to encompass a neighborhood, a community, a city, a region, and we know that the arts help us see what's exceptional about who we are and where we live. They highlight the characteristics that make each of us unique, not cookie cutter, and they allow communities to figure out how to honor the history and the traditions that best describe their place and identify the new ideas that represent the contemporary community at the same time. So they give us the tools to discover and celebrate our assets and to transform our challenges into advantages. The arts are one of the best ways to empower the creativity in individuals and electrify communities by unlocking their creativity. Can you imagine a world that's filled with a variety of ways for people to be engaged in the arts? We're moving toward this vision because in this type of visionary world, one person might be interested in classical music, another might feel a resonance with, say, jazz or folk music. Imagine companies wanting to relocate their headquarters and branches based upon the good arts programs that were available for employees and their families, where tourists and residents alike would plan their outings around arts events throughout the year because it felt so good to be out and about with neighbors, celebrating, creating, and reveling in the energy of the place, or where economic development not only involved subsidies to lure in sports teams and stadiums, but also incentives to attract and keep artists in the community, where the words art and the word jobs, where they were synonymous, and where the presence of the arts meant that a community was growing and thriving because the creativity and the innovation that came from being engaged in the arts helped them solve those old and tired problems in new ways. It helped them develop new products and services, new markets, new ways to connect with others. Imagine if the arts were a standard line item in every city budget. And every city department, from transportation to water and sewer, from housing and community services to public works, law enforcement, would incorporate the arts in order to keep a welcoming quality of life for its residents. And mayors would jump in to work with urban designs to address the structure of their community in order to showcase its beauty, the efficiency of their streets and public spaces, the gathering places of the locals, the community sites that best embraced visitors, and the rejuvenation of the areas of town that were once blighted and previously ignored. Imagine if every school district in the nation was committed to providing arts programs for all students, and every student could adopt an art form that belonged to him or her. It could be playing an instrument, or singing, painting, sculpture, weaving, drawing, creative writing, dancing, and more. Why? Because schools would recognize at a very fundamental level the strong relationship between being involved in the arts and increased achievement in other areas of school, because research has shown that there's a very strong relationship between participating in the arts and volunteering and other civic activities, even these activities outside of the arts. Increased high school graduation rates, especially with youth who come from households with very few social and economic opportunities, because these students would have a tool belt of art skills to express themselves that would go way beyond the use of linear, everyday conversations in order to communicate with others, to be able to reach those who have perspectives different from our own, to achieve academically, because they would not just be learning rote information, but instead they would be learning how to incorporate information to bring meaning into their lives. Imagine if every health department incorporated the artists and creative thinking into their healthcare systems, where clinicians and medical administrators would recognize that medicine combined with art provided a therapeutic potential far greater than medicine alone, and they would understand the role that the arts can play in increasing our emotional and physical well-being. Imagine if the arts could draw people together like a giant magnet and help create a sense of belonging and connection with our neighbors, where the arts were considered the most obvious path to understanding and appreciating our cultural differences. But if you live in Seattle, you don't have to imagine any of this. All you have to do is look around. This is a city. You deserve this applause. This is a city where the arts are already integrated into all manner of community life, where they're activating the city and they're providing residents and visitors with a richer, a better, and a brighter place to live and visit. This is a city where the arts give students new opportunities to thrive, where they're revitalizing neighborhoods, where they're stimulating the economy, where they're contributing to a healthy, dynamic environment for all people, and where they're helping bridge the differences among residents so that strangers feel more like neighbors. We know of the arts' role in strengthening the Seattle economy thanks to the economic impact study undertaken by ArtsFund. We know that regional nonprofit arts and cultural organizations generated $2.4 billion and created 35,376 jobs and $996 million in labor income. So these notions that the arts are some poor or starving industry, or that they're wasteful investments for communities, or that they're just a frill, or they're only for some people at the exclusion of others, that they simply are not true notions, because in fact the arts are one of the smartest investments a community can make. We know of the arts' role in the region's healthcare system. Look at the collaboration between the University of Washington and the Swedish Neuroscience Institute. There are musicians and neuroscientists who have developed an instrument called the encephalophone. It allows people who have a motor disability to play music through EEG waves, and that has a potential to rehabilitate damaged areas of the brain. And we're thrilled that Joint Base Lewis McChord is participating in our Creative Forces NEA Military Healing Arts Network. This is a program that utilizes creative arts therapies in clinical settings to promote the health and well-being of our service members and veterans, particularly those with brain recovery conditions. A major step of establishing these networks here in the state of Washington took place back last September when a Creative Forces Summit was held at Joint Base Lewis McChord, and this summit helped lay the groundwork for collaboration between the arts and military communities, and it gave a better sense of the benefits community arts organizations can offer military populations. And I want to express my appreciation to Karen Hannon and her team at the Washington State Arts Commission for all of their help in putting this summit together and for their ongoing commitment to advancing the arts in Washington. And all throughout Seattle, we can feel how the arts make this community feel like a community. Seattle wouldn't be Seattle without its beautiful diversity of peoples and cultures, and the arts let us embrace rather than be wary of our different traditions and ways of life. We learn about the region's Asian Pacific American community at the Wing-Luke Museum and about Native American stories and folklore through youth productions at Red Eagle Soaring and the newly reopened Nordic Museum that honors Nordic influences and thousands of years of Nordic heritage. And at the same time, organizations like these serve to empower and give voice to communities and pass down cultural knowledge from generation to generation. We know of the arts' role in providing Seattle students with more robust, equitable education. So look at the Seattle Public Schools Creative Advantage Program, which is a National Endowment for the Arts grantee. We're so proud to support it. It's a partnership that seeks to bring arts education to every student in Seattle, and it offers training to arts teachers and non-arts teachers alike so that every subject, from math to science, can be taught through a creative lens. So this is not just about teaching children how to finger a B flat on a French horn, although that might be nice. And it's not just about teaching students how to perfect a pirouette, although that might be nice. This is about giving our students the tools to think critically and creatively, to dream bigger, to push the boundaries of possibility, because in a country that's built on innovation, arts education is helping us raise the next generation of visionaries. Children and teenagers who participated in arts education programs were associated with more positive academic and social outcomes than students who did not participate in those programs. This is particularly for youth who came from households with very few social or economic opportunities. And so that is why I wanted to be here with you today, to be able to thank ArtsFund for the work that you're doing to cultivate an arts environment where creativity can blossom. So when the next painter like Jacob Lawrence is born, or the next musician like William Bolcom is born, or the next Skagit storyteller Violet Hilbert is born, or the next Jimi Hendrix, or the next Kenny G, or the next Carol Channing, or the next Brian Stokes Mitchell, or the next August Wilson moves here, or the next Jamie Ford, or the next Bruce Lee, or the next Quincy Jones, or the next Jordan Imani Keith, they are going to be in a creative environment where they're empowered through the arts, where the economy is thriving, where every student has at least one art form they can call their own, where innovations are present in healthcare, in business, in city government, and where individual identities are celebrated, where the arts are embraced as a fundamental and indispensable part of our daily lives. So congratulations on your work, and thank you for letting me join you today.